Every morning, millions of people around the world start their day the same way, with a hot, comforting, energizing cup of coffee, that rich aroma, that warm sip, that tiny spark of happiness that tells your brain, okay, now the day can begin. But imagine, just imagine, that the very drink you trust, the drink you associate with energy, warmth, and positivity, might be hiding something far from comforting, something companies don't want you to know, something that begins right from the farms where beans grow, and ends in the cup sitting in your hands right now. This is not a coffee review, this is not a brand ranking, and this is definitely not a sponsored video. This is an investigation. And it begins with a simple question. Do you know what's in your coffee? Because the truth is, most people don't. They trust brands, they trust labels, they trust the story printed on glossy packaging, words like premium, organic, pure, fresh roast, and 100% natural. But behind these polished words lies an uncomfortable reality. A reality most consumers never see. And today, you're going to see it, the dark side of cheap coffee. Our investigation started with a simple pattern. Why do some coffees taste extremely strong? Why do some give instant headaches? Why do some keep you awake unusually long? And why do some feel different? It wasn't just taste. It wasn't just aroma. It was how people felt after drinking them. Some consumers reported restlessness, sharp anxiety, chest tightness, throat irritation, odd bitterness, metallic aftertastes, not occasionally, but consistently. So we started digging. And the deeper we went, the more disturbing it became, because for some brands, especially extremely cheap ones, the answer wasn't in the roasting, it wasn't in the beans, and it wasn't in the caffeine level, it was in what was added, or worse, what was never removed. Brand 10, the beginning of the red flags. We begin with a lesser-known low-budget brand, sold widely in small shops and local markets, a brand praised for its strong taste and budget price, but whose strength came from something very different. During roasting, coffee naturally develops bitterness, but real coffee bitterness is warm, earthy, and smooth. This brand's bitterness was harsh, sharp, almost chemical. When researchers tested batches from different stores, they found massive inconsistencies. Bean quality would change from pack to pack. Roast level was unpredictable. Sometimes the beans were oily, sometimes bone dry. Cheap brands often use low-grade beans, broken beans, over-roasted beans, aged beans that lost aroma, damaged beans rejected by exporters. The result? A coffee that hits strong, not because it's premium, but because it's burnt. Burnt beans equal to burnt taste, equal to burnt smell, equal to burnt compounds, and your body can instantly feel the difference. For many viewers, this moment is where the investigation hits home. Because suddenly, that random cheap packet from a corner shop doesn't feel so harmless anymore. Brand 9th, artificial aroma, real consequences. Ever opened a pack of coffee and instantly smelled a strong, delicious aroma? So strong that it fills the room? Sounds amazing, right? Well, not always. Real coffee. Aroma fades quickly. High-quality beans smell great, but they don't overpower your entire kitchen. But many inexpensive brands rely heavily on artificial aroma boosting. These artificial scents give a false illusion of freshness, masking the low quality of the actual beans inside. The issue? Artificial additives, especially cheap, unregulated ones, can cause migraines, nausea, breathing irritation, rapid heartbeat, allergic reactions, and these aren't rare. They're common complaints from consumers online. Many people think they're reacting to caffeine, when in reality, their body is reacting to synthetic fragrance, something that shouldn't be in your morning drink in the first place. This was our second red flag, brand 8th, the extra strong lie. Have you ever seen coffee marketed as extra power, super strong, double boost, high kick? Sounds attractive, right? Who doesn't want a little extra energy? But here's what brands don't tell you. Strength not equal to quality. Strength not equal to freshness. Strength not equal to purity. Strength can simply mean over-roasted beans, cheap beans roasted until nearly burned, blended Robusta with extremely high bitterness, artificial flavor enhancers. When beans are roasted beyond a certain point, they form compounds that create the illusion of strength. But your body pays the price. Acidity increases. Stomach irritation becomes common. Fatigue hits faster. Mood swings intensify. Consumers believed they were drinking a powerful, premium coffee. But what they were really drinking was a cup full of harshness. Harsh on the throat, harsh on the stomach, and harsh on the body. Brand 7th, when coffee becomes a gimmick. This brand went viral for its dramatic packaging, black design, metallic finish, bold typography, aggressive slogans, extreme marketing. Everything about it screamed, "This coffee will awaken the beast inside you." But behind the hype, its formula relied heavily on very dark roasting, intense bitterness, artificial aroma, over-extracted blends, and while the marketing was genius, the experience was unpredictable. For some people, it caused jitters, it induced insomnia, it triggered anxiety, it felt too heavy. And this raises a very important point. Marketing can make anything look premium. Quality cannot. This brand wasn't dangerous, but it was a reminder of how easily consumers can be misled by design and hype. Brand 6. The most frustrating discovery, this brand proudly markets itself as hand-picked, authentic, pure blast roast, farm-to-cup experience. But the investigation revealed something surprising. The beans were inconsistent across different batches. One batch tasted mild and decent, another tasted overly roasted, a third tasted stale, a fourth had a strange smoky aftertaste. This inconsistency becomes a hidden danger over time because, when you don't know what you're drinking today, you can never predict how your body will react tomorrow. Coffee is supposed to be natural, stable, predictable, but inconsistency means different caffeine levels, different roasting levels, different chemical compounds. Your body reacts differently every time. That's why some people say, "Yar, kabhi ye coffee ashi lagti hai," or "kabhi bahut ajeeb." This unpredictability made Brand 6 a major point of concern. The turning point of the investigation? After analyzing the first 5 questionable brands, a clear pattern started forming, a pattern that led us to a much bigger realization. Cheap coffee isn't cheap, you pay for it in other ways. You pay through restlessness, acidity, fatigue, poor sleep, anxiety, headaches. But here's the real twist. Not all coffee is bad, not all brands hide things, not all companies cut corners. Some actually follow proper bean selection, ethical sourcing, safe roasting levels, clean quality control, zero artificial aroma boosting. And those brands, they don't need aggressive marketing. Their quality speaks for itself. But before we reveal the safe brands, before we reveal what you should drink, we still have 5 more problematic brands to expose. And these next ones, they're not just inconsistent. They're not just over-roasted. They're not just hiding behind packaging. They are the reason this entire investigation began in the first place. Because what we found in the next brands changed the direction of the entire documentary. Some findings were shocking, some were disappointing, some were infuriating, but all of them were important. When we started this investigation, our mission was simple: expose the truth about the pantry items we trust the most. But the deeper we went, the dirtier it became. We learned that some of the world's most respectable food brands hide behind glossy commercials, smiling actors, and fake promises, while quietly selling products linked to diseases we don't even want to imagine. In part 1, we exposed the first set of dangerous everyday items. Now, welcome to the final chapter, the chapter where we reveal the last remaining harmful brands, the shocking patterns connecting all these scandals, and finally, the top 5 safest alternatives you actually can trust. No drama, no sugarcoating, just reality. Let's finish what we started. 4. Maggi noodles, the quiet killer that lives in every home. If there is one food item almost every household buys without thinking, it's Maggi. Maggi is nostalgia. Maggi is convenience. Maggi is comfort. But here's the part they never advertised. Maggi has been caught multiple times for high lead content and toxic MSG levels. Not once, not twice, multiple times across multiple countries. Think about that. A brand trusted by millions. A brand fed to school kids. A brand marketed like it's the ultimate snack. yet repeatedly caught crossing the safety limits. In 2015, India banned Maggi, not for a rumor, not for competitor drama, but for lab-confirmed toxic levels of lead. Lead is not something that GE gives you a stomachache. Lead is something that damages brain development, nervous system, kidneys, immune function, and in children, it can cause permanent IQ reduction. Even after the scandal, even after fines, even after global concerns, people still use it. Why? Because Maggi's marketing is stronger than people's memory. But history doesn't lie. Chemistry doesn't lie. Test reports don't lie. Maggi stays on the list of most harmful everyday foods. 3. Brooke Bond Red Label, the tea that breaks more than IT heals. Picture this, you open your day with a cup of tea, you believe it's soothing, you believe it's relaxing, you believe it's natural, but here's the truth. Many tea brands, especially Brooke Bond Red Label, have been reported for containing artificial color which has no place in real tea, dust-grade tea powder, chemicals used to enhance aroma and strong flavor. Real tea is supposed to be leaves, not factory dust, not red dyes, not synthetic fragrance boosters. And the biggest danger? These tea powders are so fine that they pass through your digestive system, leaving chemical residues behind. Your daily morning habit becomes a daily dose of toxins, slow, invisible, and cumulative. Worst part? Most consumers never suspect tea. Tea feels harmless. Tea feels traditional. Tea is culture, but culture is not an excuse for contamination. If your tea has color, if your tea looks unnaturally strong, if your tea has instant aroma, you aren't drinking tea. You're drinking a chemical brew. 2. Knorr noodles, marketed as better than Maggi, but worse inside. Everyone knows Maggi is controversial, so brands like Knorr took advantage. Healthier, better, smoother, premium noodles. But reality? Knorr's ingredient list reads like a science experiment. Multiple chemical stabilizers, artificial flavor enhancers, synthetic taste boosters, high sodium, preservatives banned in several countries. The brand that claims to be trusted worldwide also has a record of higher banned chemical content in South Asian batches versus Western ones. This means they knowingly lower quality for certain countries because regulations are weaker. This is not just bad practice. This is corporate manipulation. When a company sells cleaner food in Europe and dirtier food in Asia. What does that tell you? Your health? Your safety? Your children? They aren't the priority. Profits are. Knorr noodles look harmless, smell amazing, cook fast, taste perfect. That's the problem. Real food doesn't need a laboratory to taste perfect. Artificial food does. 1. The biggest revelation, yellow dal, the adulteration trap. Foods you expect to be contaminated, you can't avoid them. But foods you think are pure? Those are the real danger. Yellow dal, one of the most consumed staples, has been repeatedly found to be adulterated with artificial yellow dye, tartrazine E102, dal polishers, cheap grains mixed in, stone powder for texture, industrial color coating to make it look fresh. You buy dal thinking it's protein-rich, healthy, clean. But imagine feeding your family paint chemicals, synthetic yellow dyes, ground stone powder, mixed low-quality grains. What's worse? These adulterants cause gastric inflammation, liver stress, allergic reactions, kidney load, long-term toxicity. This isn't a brand issue, this is a supply chain issue. Food fraud is one of the biggest hidden threats in the world. When the food you trust the most is the food you should fear, the problem is much bigger than a few big-name corporations. What we learned from all 10 brands. After analyzing all 10 products, a disturbing pattern appears. 1. Cheap ingredients plus strong marketing equal to high profit. Brands sell low-quality food with to other teas. Unlike dust-grade teas like Red Label, Tata Tea Gold actually uses real tea leaves, minimal processing, no added colors, better balanced caffeine levels. Tea is one category where you cannot compromise. Low-quality tea equal to long-term chemical load. Tata Tea Gold avoids that trap. 2. Rawal Yellow Dal, the safest dal brand in the region. In a market filled with adulterated dals, this is one brand that passes most purity checks. Features: no artificial dyes, no stone polish, no mixed grains, cleaner supply chain, lower contaminant levels. Dal is a daily food, your choice must be safe. Rawal gives you that confidence. 1. Hilal Foods, the cleanest processed food brand on the list. This is the biggest surprise for most people. While many large companies compromise on quality, Hilal consistently maintains high hygiene standards, trusted manufacturing, clean formulas, fewer chemicals compared to global brands, honest ingredient lists. From snacks to confectionery, the brand maintains a reputation very few companies match. Hilal isn't just safe, it's impressive. Final message: the real enemy isn't one brand, it's ignorance. Food companies will keep cutting corners, regulations will remain weak, advertising will keep manipulating emotions. But your awareness, your choices, your knowledge, that's your real power. Most people don't know what they're eating. Most people don't read labels. Most people don't question brands. But you're not. Most people, you watched, you learned, you took responsibility. This isn't just a video, this is a wake-up call.